Production of immense possibilities is made possible by the generous support of the Earth and Humanity Foundation, Wendy Selden, Rogue Co-ops, a community-centered collaboration among the Ashland Food Co-op, the Grange Co-op, Rogue Credit Union, and the Medford Food Co-op, Cliff Bar and Company, Elizabeth York, and these additional members of the Immense Possibilities Community Builders Circle.
We have this expression, nothing good happens when you're hungry.
And they are still doing the very best they can to make a good life for themselves and their children. So it's a place of this tremendous inspiration around which the community revolves.
Are we halfway? Are we 1/4 of the way, 3/4 of the way? I don't know, but we're not all the way.
They can enhance their lives and eventually not need us, and that's really our goal.
It is unacceptable to have people in our culture who do not have enough food to eat.
Welcome to our weekly visit with people who are creating immense possibilities for healthy communities, solutions to all kinds of challenges. We begin this week with statistics that might not surprise you. The number of Americans facing hunger on a regular basis now tops 50 million. 1 in 8 of us now rely on food assistance programs to feed ourselves and our families. Rick Gaupo, a visionary leader in this area who we'll meet later in the program, understands what this means, especially for kids.
We have this expression, nothing good happens when you're hungry. You can't think well, you can't study well, you're irritable. But if we can get food in the bellies, if we can change the system, if we can watch kids grow up, flourish, bear fruit for the community, that is a wonderful image.
How can a few professionals and a whole lot of volunteers turn that image into reality? With skill and persistence, of course, but also with imagination and a venturesome creativity that's the good news in this story. I want you to meet a couple of people who see the growing need for food assistance as an opportunity as much as a problem. They are Pam Marsh, Executive Director of the Ashland Emergency Food Bank, and Greg Lemhouse, the President of the Food Bank's Board of Directors. Welcome to you both, and thanks for coming.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Pam, first some basic numbers. What kind of increase in demand has the food bank seen over the last few years?
You know, over about 2 years ago, we are up about 35% in the number of families who are visiting us each month. Right now, we're serving consistently more than 600 households every month. We think that translates to about 1,500 children and adults, which is a large number of people in a little community like this one.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything changing in the general characteristics or background of people seeking food assistance?
It's interesting and sometimes surprising to people to hear that about 75%, or the vast majority of the folks who come in our doors, have homes, they have addresses, but they just need a little bit of extra support to get through the month. About another 20 to 25% identify as being homeless, living on the streets, or sharing a home with someone.
In this economy, we hear of people coming to food banks and saying, wow, I never thought I'd be in this position. Do you hear that? And is there a stigma attached to that for some people?
We do our very best in a space that is welcoming and we hope joyful to take that away, to make it a positive experience.
Is there anything you find yourself saying in those kinds of conversations?
You know, we try to listen more than anything. We have very compassionate volunteers at the front desk, and people share their stories, and we let them know about resources that are available to them, and we welcome them with big smiles and happy volunteers who then make it possible for them to do a shopping experience for their families.
I think we believe too that we are a nonprofit, we're a charitable organization, but there's also a business style angle to it, which is, I believe, create an environment where people want to come,
right?
Where people feel comfortable. They're less looking for a handout, and we see them as customers. They're coming in a joyful, comfortable experience, and we have volunteers who, this is a fun place to go work. I want to go volunteer there.
Greg, there is a fairly amazing story about the building where the food bank's located right now. Tell us about that.
Well, it is. It's a great story. And really, there came a time where we had to make a decision that we couldn't continue to move. We had to be consistent. We had to find a place where people knew where we were all the time and provided stability for our organization that's trying to provide stability for people. So we identified what was the Kentucky Fried Chicken A&W restaurant on Clover Lane that had been closed for 3 or 4 years, I think, by that point, and owned by People's Bank. The board decided to take the step, fairly drastic step at the time for an organization that was large on energy and passion, but still a nonprofit and not well heeled, to the point where we could just purchase our own building. We knew we had to start a fundraising campaign, and then I think it was within 8 months of our campaign, we raised around $500,000 to purchase our own building.
It seems to me that there's a hurdle to get over with people who've never had to worry about where their next meal is coming from, to identify with people who need food assistance before they're going to start writing checks, that kind of thing. So is there anything that you've discovered that helps people understand, well, that could be me, or in some way makes this compelling among all the places they could be writing checks to that's part of your success?
I think first off, I think people know. I really do think people in their heart of hearts, if you pay attention, there's people in need. To get them to really understand the visualization of what we do and how it affects people, we invite people to the food bank, and we show them the building. That's why the building is just so impactful. That's why it's so important for us to have us now.
You folks did something remarkable with the outside of your building in the past few months. Some thought it was kind of a luxury, but you don't. It was sort of integral to your vision for what you are. So who's going to tell us about your outside adventure?
After we purchased the building with the support of many people across the community, one of the donors who had been involved in that purchase stepped forward and said, "We are so glad that you are in that building. But the outside of the building still looks like an old Kentucky Fried Chicken." And this person offered the money to transform the outside of the building so that it is as joyful and welcoming as we think the inside of the building is, and so that it really reflects what we're trying to do inside. And they supported us in painting the building, but moreover, they supported us in creating an incredible mural on the outside of our building, which is now part of the city's public art collection. The mural was designed by Denise Baxter, who runs Ashland Art Center, and she actually put it on the wall with the help of about 5 Southern Oregon University art students. Took a process of about 3 weeks. And now we have what we call Seasons of Gratitude, a mural that really depicts individuals against the background of the Rogue Valley over the course of the year. So as you drive up to the food bank, you are greeted every morning with this incredible piece of art that really welcomes both the volunteers and the people who are coming for services. And it is incredibly joyful experience.
Now, I've seen it, and it's beautiful, but help me understand how it's really core to the kind of organization you're creating.
Art inspires. I mean, art isn't something that you only see in museums. Art is something that, when integrated in people's daily lives, can inspire and motivate their spirit, lift their spirits. And I think that's the impact that that mural has. It also has a larger impact in that it draws people across the community to come to the food bank and to see, for the purpose of seeing the mural.
It helps take it from the margin towards the center.
Absolutely, which is essential to that long-term survival.
And what other ways have you found other players in this community to come together for a stronger integrated effort?
Our local Rotary runs a garden for us out on Neal Creek and brings in wonderful loads of onions and garlic and fresh kale during the growing season. We also have an organization that has taken on the task of developing our back 40 behind the food bank with raised beds. So now we have, through Ashland City Farm, 4 raised beds back there. We had 3rd graders there working from Siskiyou School just a couple days ago to harvest the greens that are popping up back there. So as soon as all of that comes up in the back, we wash it, we bring it in the front, and we have it ready to give to our neighbors. We also have, during the summer months, as backyard gardeners are going at it, the wonderful opportunity to get produce from them. And frequently during the summer, we have people walking in the back door, giving us loads of fresh lettuce that they've just harvested from their
Zucchini, I bet.
zucchini. You know what? And I've never found a giant zucchini that I can't find a good home for. And I've had a few opportunities. So we are.
Are you sure you want to say that on the air?
Yeah, right. You can cut that part out. But the backyard farmers are just a wonderful resource. They bring us tomatoes and all kinds of things, and we use them all. I am frequently asked, do your customers actually want fresh produce? And the answer is absolutely. There's not an odd kind of looking kale that I can't find someone who will be very happy to take it home. And again, it just raises the quality of what we have to offer tremendously when we have some fresh produce to go along with it.
Our volunteers are just fantastic, and when they do the shopping experience, it gives them the ability to interact with the customer. And during those conversations, they'll talk about, hey, this is a good way. If you get these vegetables we have right over here, this kale makes a great meal to go with this. And we have volunteers that put together ingredient packs with the recipes on there, and so you can put together and educate a little bit, and they can talk to them about how to make a meal so that they can enhance their lives and eventually not need us, and that's really our goal.
What would you like to do in coming years that you're not doing now, or what would you like to do more of?
I have a dream of an independent kitchen where we could actually bring people in and teach them how to cook, where we could do canning classes, where we could take the produce from the back and immediately turn it into something else.
I would like to find a way for us to connect better with our culinary community, with our restaurants, and find a way. It's impossible, I think, for any restaurant not to have waste at the end of the day. It's just a part of doing business. I would really like to find a way so that we can hook into that network and we can make use of their food that they didn't use but is still perfectly usable, and find a way to get that to people in need.
Are you looking for new volunteers right now?
We are a totally volunteer-fueled organization. Every morning we have 5 or 6 volunteers on site running the place. So we are always in need of volunteers. And
What would people be doing if they were new volunteers?
This morning I have people who are there who are bagging almonds that were just donated by Dagoba. We have people who are moving inventory from the back room to the front room so it'll be available for customers. We have people who are walking customers around doing their shopping experience. We have someone at the front intake desk who is welcoming people and finding out something about their households. So it's pretty straightforward work, and it's extremely satisfying to people.
First off, I think our organization doesn't just serve our customers. I think another important function is that we serve volunteers. Mm-hmm. It's important for people in a community to have something to volunteer for. I think that kind of grows the fabric of a community. So I think serving our volunteers is an important piece. But I always tell people, what do you want to do? We'll make use of you. If you're not a people person, you don't want to be out front, if you're an electrician by trade, if you're a carpenter, if you're whatever, we can use you.
Pam, what makes you believe you're making an important difference in your work?
Every day I sit at the food bank, and in the back door come what I call miracle of the day offerings. A stream of community people who are coming in with fresh produce or things they picked up at the grocery store. Yesterday I had a lady give me a call who's making homemade children's clothing. And I went to her house and she gave me 3 beautiful jackets that we have the opportunity to distribute to a family. So we have this community demonstrating its compassion and generosity on a daily basis. And in the meantime, coming in the front door is a stream of customers who are often dealing with things much bigger than I could ever deal with. They have struggles, they have challenges, and they are still doing the very best they can to make a good life for themselves and their children. So it's a place of this tremendous inspiration around which the community revolves.
Pam Marsh, Greg Lemhouse of the Ashland Emergency Food Bank, thank you so much for the work you're doing and the work you're coordinating from others, and for telling us about it here on Immense Possibilities.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
The food bank and the volunteers and the donors and the businesses involved have come to an incredible point. Are we halfway? Are we 1/4 of the way? 3/4 of the way? I don't know, but we're not all the way.
At the top of the program, you caught a glimpse of Rick Galpo, who runs Marion Polk Food Share in Oregon's Willamette Valley. Rick's known for the creativity he brings to the growing challenge of food assistance. And in a recent TED Talk, he clearly showed why.
And so we've done some things that we say are outside of the food box. Here's one of the very first things we've done. This is Steve Morton. He's a wonderful chef. He had a great restaurant in town for about 22 years where you'd go to for celebrations, for anniversaries, for weddings. When he closed his shop, we invited him to come work with us, and we said, help us feed the rest of the community, and he jumped on that. And so he's there to help make sure that our meals are nutritious. When we send out something that maybe somebody's not going to know what to do, we put a nice recipe card on it, and it's an attractive card because we want to draw the attention to the recipe so that they'll cook the meal. Here's a couple more things we're doing. We run a warehouse. We have about a 30,000 square foot warehouse. You have to have forklift drivers in a warehouse. What we started doing is we started training people on getting their forklift certification. We started using a need that we had as a training course for future job employment. And so people can come to Marion Polk Food Share, get training, certified recognition of forklift skills, and use that to get jobs out in the community. This is aquaponics. Aquaponics is a combination of fish and plants together. This is at Parrish Middle School, and that's our greenhouse, and we help them create this aquaponics system. If you're an aquaponics enthusiast, you believe this is the wave of the future, because what this is a clean, sustainable way to grow fresh produce anywhere. You can grow it in a basement, you can grow it next to a grocery store, you can grow it in a parking lot. And we said, what can we do? How can we start controlling our own future and provide a nutritious, healthy, affordable product? And so we came up with this veggie burger. It might not look like much to you, but to us, it's really significant. This is a pack of 6. It's high in protein, tastes great, and most importantly to us, or as importantly, it's affordable. We can produce one of these for about 16 cents a patty. And we also wanted to make sure that kids would know what to do with it. Because in our community, those 16,000 kids, some of them are left at home trying to figure out how to fend for themselves for the meal. And so we did a patty purposely because it cues the person. What it means is you get a patty, you know what to do with it. You put it between 2 pieces of bread, you slap some ketchup on it, voila, you got a nutritious meal. This is, by the way, is our team protein. These are volunteers in our test kitchen, and by the way, we have a test kitchen. These are volunteers making these patties, but we needed a production force. So these 2 guys right here, they're incarcerated youth at Oregon Youth Authority's McLaren site. We've been partnering with Oregon Youth Authority, and we had a garden with them. A couple years later, we helped them plant a tree orchard. And as we were talking, we realized that they wanted to have a vocational training program in food production, and we wanted to have a food production force. And so we're partnering together. We want to make sure everyone cares about nutritious food for all.
That challenge of getting good, healthful, fresh produce to people who rely on food banks brought to mind our past feature on Rotary First Harvest, which is quietly stocking food assistance centers with tons of fruits and vegetables that otherwise might be wasted.
For those of you who are tired of doing green beans, we also have some beautiful Anjou and red Anjou pears that came in yesterday. We brought in 60,000 pounds of those from Wenatchee. So we need to get through a lot of those as well.
It's been 3 years since we talked to the program's director, David Bobanek.
But our role in the bigger picture of hunger relief is getting healthy produce into the hands of those folks that are coming into the food bank. So carrots, potatoes, onions, apples, pears, all those things throughout the year we get into the food bank.
Back with us now is Rotary First Harvest Director David Bobanek. David, welcome back to Immense Possibilities.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks very much. It's good to be here.
Remind us again just what Rotary First Harvest does.
We connect farmers, truckers, food banks, and volunteers for hunger relief, which means we don't own any of the pieces in that process, but what we do is we connect the underused resources to get excess produce into the food banking system here in the Northwest.
What do Rotarians have to do with it?
Rotarians own trucking companies, Rotarians are farmers, even Rotarians are working at some of the food bank distribution warehouses that are our key partners.
Well, what's gone on since we last talked? Tell us about a development in your program.
Sure. We've been building a Harvest Against Hunger program. And what that is a project that's a partnership with a Corporation for National and Community Service. So it places AmeriCorps Vista at food bank locations all around Washington State and even down into California so they can develop localized gleaning and produce recovery programs. And that helps us to connect those local hunger programs with local farmers.
Are you finding Rotarians really stand up and want to be part of this once they figure out what's going on?
Yeah, they really like the hands-on work. I mean, Rotary is at its core a service organization. And so it's finding a way for Rotarians to help people in their local community. So it makes it a very real experience, and they can see, hands-on, they can see the results of their hard work at the end of the day. So they're out there gleaning kale in the morning, and they can see it delivered to the food bank that afternoon.
Can anybody who's involved in Rotary find a way to get involved with this program?
I urge anybody that's a Rotarian to find out who the local resource is that's helping people and to connect with them and find the best ways that they can engage Rotary resources to help support that effort.
David, what is the immense possibility of the work that you're doing?
Well, I think one of the things that we're really excited about is the opportunity to take this Harvest Against Hunger program model that we've been developing for the past 5 years here in the Northwest and make it something that is a national model. So it's something that can be replicated in communities, and it can be replicated very quickly in communities where there's a high level of need, but also a strong agricultural connection.
David Bobanek of Rotary First Harvest, thank you for the work you're doing. Thanks for checking in with us again on Immense Possibilities.
Absolutely. Love the opportunity to talk.
And I just want us to choose to take our consciousness to another level and to try to work toward a tipping point in the connected minds of all people in our culture, that it is unacceptable to have people in our culture who do not have enough food to eat.
Our new segment this season is IP Filmworks, video adventures sent to us from communities far and wide.
Hi, my name is Frances Dixon. I'm from Grants Pass, Oregon. The immense possibility that I'd like to show you is the Adopt a Village in Guatemala, Maya Jaguar High School, in a remote region of northwestern Guatemala.
Para mí Maya Jaguar es muy especial.
Muy importante.
Una ciencia.
Magnífica.
Tranquilidad.
Alegría.
Sabiduría.
Enseñanza.
El estudio acá en Maya Jaguar es superación.
When people ask me about Adopt a Village in Guatemala, and particularly the Maya Jaguar High School, my first thought is the word hope, because we have built the first high school in this entire region of northwestern Guatemala where we can offer scholarships and an opportunity to get that coveted high school diploma.
Cuando culminé los 3 años en básico y hablé con mi papá, yo quiero seguir otra carrera. Él me dijo que no tenía la oportunidad de darme estudio. Por una razón es que él está enfermo, ya no puede trabajar. Mi mamá al igual, ella está enferma. Entonces es por eso que no pudieron darme estudio.
Hay muchos estudiantes que tienen el gran deseo de superarse. Ese es el motivo por el cual ellos están aquí. Cuando ellos vienen acá, vienen totalmente en un grado que yo me atrevería a decir educativo, de tercero primario. 9 años estudiando y nunca han leído un libro.
We're able to give the necessary classes by working from 8:30 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon for 18 straight days. And we send them home for 12 days. So that relieves the child to go home and be able to work with his or her parents. Students receive 3 diplomas, an academic diploma, a computer sciences diploma, and a sustainable agricultural diploma.
Prepararlos también para que puedan enfrentar el mundo laboral y estudiantil. Saliendo de aquí, yo puedo decir, ustedes están listos para trabajar aquí, allá, donde ellos quieran.
Seguir en la universidad, en la carrera de Ingeniería Ambiental.
porque más que todo el ambiente está corriendo un riesgo y por eso quiero ayudar al medio ambiente.
Veo que en mi alrededor existen problemas, especialmente en los niños, los está atacando la desnutrición. Entonces yo voy a seguir en la universidad la carrera de enfermería profesional y así también poder ayudar a mi familia. Eso es lo único que yo deseo.
That's it for this edition of Immense Possibilities. You can find more information and a place for your suggestions at immensepossibilities.org. We welcome you to share and like our Facebook page. Thanks for watching. I'm Jeff Golden, and until next time, please do what you can do. Thanks for watching to learn about tonight's Immense Possibility. You can watch any of our past programs anytime at immensepossibilities.org.
The SLU House experience is really an opportunity for students to get out of the classroom and engage the community in solving real-world problems.
Houses are about a spirit of adventure. Maybe that's rafting or building a house, but it's also about the adventure of figuring out what comes next.
Get involved, make a difference in the world.
Get connected, join a house.